All right, let's get right into it. We're going to break down one of the most complex hero arcs out there, a story about a hero who has to literally destroy his own philosophy to save the world. This is all about the Quantum Wraith, a grim vigilante who is forced to find meaning in a universe he's convinced has absolutely none.
You know, this one line says it all. And get this, it's not spoken by a loyal follower. It's spoken by the main antagonist to our hero. This quote right here frames the entire conflict. It's not about good versus evil. It's about a dark philosophy staring into a mirror and being utterly horrified by the reflection. So first up, let's meet the man himself. His name is Vath-kon, a Kryptonian who stalks the night as the Quantum Wraith. But forget everything you know about Kryptonian heroes. He's no symbol of hope. He sees himself as an agent of decay, living by this bleak, self-imposed code.
So what does that actually mean? Well, Vath-kon's entire worldview is built on a single grim foundation, that in the grand scheme of things, nothing truly matters. He genuinely believes that everything, from vast empires down to the smallest individual, is destined to just crumble. And his role? To be a quiet observer of that decay. Or, sometimes, to give it a little push.
And his powers? They are a perfect, terrifying reflection of this belief. He doesn't just go around punching criminals, no. He uses his nuclear vision to inflict accelerated decay, literally making his targets wither away in seconds. It's not about justice, not really. It's a physical demonstration of his philosophy that everything eventually falls apart. It's a uniquely passive and, frankly, chilling form of violence.
Okay, now this is where the story gets really, really good. Instead of throwing some villain in Vath-kon who challenges his beliefs, we get someone who validates them completely. Meet Dr. Eris Thorn.
See, Thorn isn't your typical power-hungry bad guy. He's a broken man, a brilliant scientist who has lost it all and has seen the futility of the world up close. So when he looks at Vath-kon's philosophy of meaninglessness, he doesn't see a flaw. He sees an answer. In fact, he sees it as the final solution to human suffering. And this right here is the core of the conflict. It's brilliant. Vath-kon practices a passive nihilism. He's content to watch the world burn, maybe give it a little nudge here and there. But Thorn represents active nihilism. He thinks that if life is meaningless, then suffering is just pointless cruelty. So the most logical, maybe even the most compassionate act is to just end it all. He takes Vath-kon's quiet, grim philosophy and turns it into a genocidal scream.
So this whole confrontation, it forces Vath-kon into a corner. But it's not a physical one. It's an ideological trap, and it leads to this moment of critical and almost fatal hesitation.
When they finally face off, Thorn doesn't even throw a punch. He just talks. He lays out his whole plan, his reasoning, and every single word is a perfect echo of the darkest thoughts inside Vath-kon's own head. The pointlessness of striving, the futility of it all. Thorn is just saying out loud what Vath-kon has always believed.
And that's the impossible question, isn't it? How do you fight that? Vath-kon, a being who could level entire cities, is stopped dead in his tracks by an idea that he himself nurtured. And while he's just standing there, paralyzed, Thorn gets a way to activate his doomsday device, the Event Horizon Protocol.
So let's jump to the climax, because this is where everything builds to a head. To stop Thorn, Vath-kon has to do the one thing his entire philosophy forbids. He has to strive. He has to actually choose to act, to fight for something. He has to violate his own sacred code of detachment.
And the setting for this final battle is just perfect. It's the old nuclear facility where Vath-kon was essentially born, the place where he first metabolized his powers. So, to overcome his philosophical crisis, he literally has to go back to his own origin story and redefine what his power even means.
Now, Thorn is no idiot. He's prepared to fight a god. His defenses are specifically designed to counter Vath-kon's usual attacks. He floods the room with raw radiation, trying to overload him. He's forcing Vath-kon to dig deep, to use his most bizarre and volatile abilities just to get close.
And Vath-kon has no choice but to adapt. He unleashes this bizarre, contradictory power called ice-cold fire breath. He absorbs the very radiation that was supposed to kill him and turns it into fuel. You see, every single action here is an act of will, a direct contradiction of his belief that trying is pointless. He is actively choosing to overcome.
But when he finally smashes his way to the core, he's faced with the ultimate trap. The device is rigged. If he destroys it with brute force, it'll just trigger the explosion anyway. He can't just smash his way out of this one. He has to find another way.
And in this one moment of pure clarity, he realizes the answer isn't destruction at all. He unleashes his most volatile, most dangerous power, the kryptonite energy blast. But he doesn't aim it at Thorn. He aims it right at the heart of the device.
This creates this incredible, violent reaction. The anti-Kryptonian energy from his blast collides with the pro-Kryptonian nuclear fuel powering the device. These two opposing forces create a feedback loop that doesn't explode. It cancels itself out. He uses his greatest weakness to neutralize the threat. But here's the twist. In that chaotic surge of hybrid energy, something else happened. Because standing right there at ground zero was Dr. Thorn. The very blast that saved the city may have just created a brand new monster.
So, Thorn's plan is stopped, but this is a very complicated victory. As the whole facility crumbles around them, Vath-kon's old identity as a prophet of decay is completely shattered. But in that wreckage, Thorn himself is reborn, infused with the very power that defeated him, a living, breathing embodiment of the philosophy Vath-kon just abandoned. By choosing to save thousands of innocent lives, Vath-kon proved his entire life's philosophy wrong. But that victory came with a heavy price. He stared into the abyss of his own beliefs and chose to turn away, only to see that abyss take physical form in his transformed enemy, Dr. Thorn.
So, what's the big takeaway for him? It's this new synthesis. Maybe the universe is cold and meaningless on a cosmic scale. Fine. But that doesn't make striving pointless. Actually, it makes the choice to create meaning, to preserve, to fight for something, anything, the most powerful force there is. Meaning isn't something you find, it's something you make.
And that's where we leave him. He's no longer a prophet of nihilism. Now, he's a figure burdened by an uncomfortable truth and a very real physical consequence. In his first true act of heroism, he didn't just destroy his old self, he accidentally created his perfect enemy. A tragic mirror, now supercharged with the very nuclear power Vath-kon once wielded, ready to prove that when you stare into the abyss, sometimes it stares back.